Hello everyone, and welcome to my BNB Spoilers 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. In the latest jaw-dropping twist on the bold and the beautiful, tensions explode in a way fans will never forget when Electra finally reaches her breaking point and screams, "Get out of my life," before delivering a shocking slap that echoes through the Forrester mansion, leaving Ivy stunned, Daphne shaken, and the entire family reeling from the truth that has just been exposed. For weeks, subtle clues had hinted that something wasn't right. Whispers in hallways, secretive phone calls, nervous glances exchanged whenever Electra entered the room, but no one could have predicted the emotional earthquake that would follow once Daphne decided she could no longer stay silent. Daphne, who had been wrestling with guilt after uncovering Ivy's carefully buried secret, ultimately chose conscience over loyalty, and in doing so, set off a chain reaction that threatens to destroy relationships, shatter trust, and rewrite the family's future forever. Electra, already vulnerable after feeling isolated and manipulated, had sensed that Ivy was hiding something monumental, yet she never imagined the betrayal ran so deep. When Daphne gathered the courage to reveal the truth, laying out every hidden detail, every calculated lie, every moment Ivy orchestrated behind the scenes, Electra's world imploded in an instant. The revelation centered on Ivy's long-kept deception. She had deliberately interfered in Electra's most personal decisions, manipulating events to maintain control and preserve her own secrets. Daphne explained how Ivy had secretly altered key documents, twisted conversations to paint Electra as unstable, and even sabotaged critical business opportunities at Forrester Creations to keep Electra dependent and distracted. The shock was overwhelming. Electra replayed countless moments in her mind, arguments that now made sense, mysterious setbacks, unexplained tensions, and with every recollection, her heartbreak deepened. Ivy, who had always portrayed herself as the protective, supportive presence in Electra's life, stood frozen as the truth spilled out. She attempted to interject, to defend herself, to claim that everything she did was out of love, but Daphne's evidence was undeniable. Emails, recorded conversations, and financial records proved Ivy's calculated manipulation beyond doubt. Electra's reaction was raw and visceral. Her voice trembled at first, then rose in fury as she confronted Ivy in front of everyone. The betrayal cut deeper than any enemy attack because it came from someone she trusted completely. She accused Ivy of treating her like a pawn, of engineering chaos to maintain control, and of suffocating her independence under the guise of protection. Ivy's face paled as Electra demanded answers.
Why?
Why risk everything? Why lie for so long? Ivy's explanation, that she feared losing her place in the family, that she believed Electra's choices would expose secrets better left buried, only intensified the anger. To Electra, those words sounded hollow. Fear did not justify manipulation. Love did not excuse betrayal. Then came the moment that would define the episode. As Ivy stepped closer, attempting to reach for Electra's hand, Electra recoiled, tears streaming down her face. The pain, humiliation, and rage converged in a single explosive instant. "Get out of my life," she screamed, her voice echoing across the room. The slap that followed wasn't just physical. It symbolized the end of trust, the death of a bond that once felt unbreakable. The sound silenced everyone present. Daphne gasped. Other family members stood frozen in disbelief. Ivy, stunned, touched her cheek, her eyes filling with tears not only from the sting but from the realization that her carefully constructed web had finally unraveled. In the aftermath, chaos consumed the household. Some family members rushed to Electra's side, offering comfort and validation, while others grappled with the complexity of Ivy's motives. Daphne, though relieved the truth was finally out, struggled with guilt over the explosive fallout. She never intended to trigger violence. She simply wanted honesty. Yet the confrontation revealed just how fragile the family's foundation had become. The betrayal extended beyond personal relationships and into the professional realm. At Forrester Creations, whispers spread quickly. Colleagues questioned Ivy's integrity. Investors demanded reassurance. The scandal threatened to tarnish the company's reputation, forcing leadership to consider drastic measures. Electra, meanwhile, retreated into solitude, wrestling with conflicting emotions. Anger dominated at first, but beneath it lay profound sadness. She mourned not just the deception but the illusion of closeness she believed she shared with Ivy. She replayed childhood memories, shared triumphs, heartfelt conversations, each now tainted by doubt. Was any of it real? Or had Ivy always been orchestrating events behind the scenes? The uncertainty gnawed at her. Yet amid the devastation, a flicker of empowerment emerged. The truth, painful as it was, freed her from manipulation. For the first time, she felt clarity. She vowed to rebuild her life on her own terms, independent of Ivy's shadow. Ivy's arc took a darker turn as she faced isolation and accountability. Once confident and composed, she now confronted the consequences of her choices. Some relatives demanded she leave the mansion immediately. Others argued for compassion, insisting that her actions, while misguided, stemmed from insecurity rather than malice. Ivy herself oscillated between defensiveness and remorse. She admitted she feared being pushed aside, overshadowed by Electra's growing influence. She convinced herself that controlling circumstances would preserve stability. Instead, it destroyed everything. Daphne's role also became a focal point. While praised for her courage, she faced backlash from those who believed she should have handled the situation privately. The moral dilemma underscored a recurring theme: is exposing truth always the right choice, even when it causes irreversible damage? Daphne stood firm, asserting that secrets fester and grow toxic. She believed transparency, however painful, was necessary for healing. Whether the family would eventually agree remained uncertain. As days passed, alliances shifted. Some characters began uncovering additional layers of Ivy's scheme: hidden accounts, subtle manipulations of legal paperwork, strategic misinformation designed to secure her influence. Each revelation compounded the sense of betrayal. Electra's resolve strengthened. She met with legal advisors, determined to protect herself and ensure no further interference could occur. Professionally, she sought to reclaim her authority at Forrester Creations, proposing bold initiatives that signaled a new era of independence. Her resilience inspired admiration from unexpected quarters. Yet the emotional wounds lingered. In quiet moments, Electra questioned whether reconciliation was possible. The slap marked a definitive boundary, but could forgiveness ever follow? Ivy, desperate for redemption, attempted to write letters, to request private conversations, to express genuine remorse. Electra ignored them at first, unwilling to reopen the pain. The narrative tension now revolves around whether time will soften anger or solidify estrangement. Viewers of the bold and the beautiful are left contemplating the broader implications. The storyline explores how fear of irrelevance can drive destructive choices, how love twisted by control becomes toxic, and how truth, though liberating, often arrives with collateral damage. Electra's slap was not merely an act of rage, it was a declaration of autonomy. Her demand, "Get out of my life," echoes as a powerful assertion of self-respect. In upcoming episodes, spoilers tease further fallout. Business rivals may exploit the scandal. Family members could take sides, deepening fractures. There's even speculation that Ivy holds one final secret that could shift sympathy in her favor or devastate Electra once more. If that secret surfaces, will it vindicate Ivy's desperation or confirm her manipulation? And will Electra remain steadfast, or will compassion eventually temper her fury? For now, the image lingers. Electra standing tall, tears glistening, refusing to be controlled any longer. Ivy, humbled and shaken, confronting the ruins of her own making. Daphne, caught between relief and regret, knowing that honesty changed everything. The slap reverberates beyond a single scene. It marks a turning point that redefines relationships and power dynamics. Fans are captivated not just by the shock value, but by the emotional authenticity underpinning it. Ultimately, This explosive confrontation underscores why the bold and the beautiful continues to dominate daytime drama. It dares to delve into betrayal, accountability, and resilience with intensity and nuance. Electra's journey from manipulated victim to empowered survivor resonates deeply. Ivy's descent from protector to pariah serves as a cautionary tale about the cost of control. And Daphne's moral courage highlights the complexity of truth-telling. As the dust settles, one thing is certain: nothing in this family will ever be the same again. As the shockwaves from Electra's explosive confrontation continue to ripple through the bold and the beautiful, the emotional aftermath only grows more complicated, more volatile, and more devastating for everyone involved. The slap may have been a single moment, but its consequences unfold in layers, each more intense than the last. In the hours following Electra's furious declaration, "Get out of my life," the Forrester mansion becomes a battlefield of divided loyalties, whispered accusations, and painful self-reflection. Electra isolates herself at first, locking the door to her suite and ignoring every knock. The adrenaline that fueled her outburst fades, leaving exhaustion in its place. Her hands tremble, not from regret over the slap, but from the sheer weight of betrayal pressing against her chest. Every memory she shared with Ivy now feels contaminated. Birthdays, holidays, business milestones, private confidences. She replays each one, wondering which moments were genuine and which were carefully calculated manipulations designed to keep her dependent. The emotional whiplash is unbearable. Downstairs, Ivy struggles to process what just happened. The sting on her cheek is nothing compared to the ache in her heart. She never imagined Electra would look at her with such hatred, such finality. For years, Ivy convinced herself she was the steady anchor in Electra's life, the one who knew what was best. She believed that guiding circumstances, even subtly bending them, was an act of protection. But Daphne's revelations stripped away that illusion. Emails that proved Ivy had quietly redirected business deals. Phone records showing she deliberately fed misinformation to key partners. Financial transfers indicating she set aside contingency funds to maintain leverage. The evidence wasn't just damning, it was systematic. Daphne, meanwhile, becomes the reluctant center of attention. Some family members thank her for her honesty. Others accuse her of detonating a bomb in the middle of fragile relationships. She spends the evening fielding questions, defending her decision. Secrets rot everything, she insists. I couldn't keep watching Electra be manipulated. But even she can't deny the guilt creeping into her conscience. She never anticipated physical violence. She never wanted to see Electra's heartbreak so raw and exposed. The following morning, the scandal spills beyond the mansion walls and into the corridors of Forrester Creations. Executives demand clarity. Investors schedule emergency meetings. Rumors swirl that Ivy may have compromised sensitive company strategies to maintain control over Electra's professional standing. If proven, the implications could extend beyond family drama into legal jeopardy. The board convenes in tense silence, debating whether Ivy should be suspended pending further investigation. The once respected figure now sits under scrutiny, her composure cracking under pressure. Electra makes a dramatic entrance at the meeting, calm, composed, and resolute. The transformation is startling. Gone is the trembling fury of the previous night. In its place stands a woman determined to reclaim her narrative. She addresses the board directly, acknowledging the chaos but emphasizing her commitment to transparency and ethical leadership. She refuses to let Ivy's actions define the company's future. Her speech is steady, strategic, and inspiring. Even those who doubted her resilience find themselves impressed. Privately, however, the emotional wounds remain open. Later that evening, Electra confides in Daphne. She admits that beneath the anger lies grief. "I lost someone I thought I knew," she whispers. "It feels like a death." Daphne listens quietly, offering no platitudes, only presence. The two women share a fragile understanding forged in truth and pain. Their bond strengthens, though it is built on the ruins of another relationship. Ivy attempts to salvage what she can. She requests a private meeting with Electra, hoping for an opportunity to explain herself without an audience. Electra initially refuses, but curiosity, and perhaps a need for closure, eventually sways her. The meeting is tense from the start. Ivy doesn't deny her actions. Instead, she frames them as misguided attempts to maintain stability. She confesses her deepest fear, irrelevance. As Electra's influence grew, Ivy felt herself fading into the background. She panicked. She convinced herself that controlling outcomes was the only way to secure her place. Electra listens, her expression unreadable. When Ivy finishes, silence hangs heavy in the room. "You didn't protect me," Electra finally says. "You imprisoned me." The words cut deeper than the slap ever could. Ivy's eyes fill with tears, but Electra remains firm. Forgiveness, she explains, requires accountability, not excuses. She walks away, leaving Ivy alone with the echo of her own choices. Meanwhile, secondary fallout begins to surface. Business rivals seize the opportunity to exploit perceived instability. Anonymous tips circulate to tabloids, threatening to expose internal conflicts. The pressure mounts. Electra steps into crisis management mode, determined to shield the company from further damage. She spearheads a bold new campaign emphasizing integrity and empowerment, subtly signaling a departure from Ivy's shadow. The public response is overwhelmingly positive. Yet, personal consequences linger. Family gatherings grow awkward. Some relatives attempt neutrality, while others openly choose sides. Conversations become strained, every word weighed carefully to avoid reigniting conflict. The once unified household now feels fractured. Even shared meals are tense affairs punctuated by forced politeness. Daphne finds herself reflecting on the broader moral implications. Was truth worth this devastation? She believes so, but the cost is undeniable. She begins volunteering her time to mediate conversations, hoping to facilitate healing. Whether reconciliation is possible remains uncertain, but she refuses to abandon hope. In a surprising twist, new information emerges suggesting Ivy may not have acted entirely alone. Subtle clues hint that an external figure encouraged her manipulations, exploiting her insecurities for personal gain. The possibility complicates the narrative. Was Ivy solely responsible, or was she also a pawn in a larger scheme? The revelation doesn't absolve her, but it adds nuance to the unfolding drama. Electra faces a critical choice: pursue legal action to secure justice and protect her future, or allow the matter to remain within the family sphere. Advisors urge caution. Lawyers outline potential consequences. Ultimately, Electra prioritizes stability over vengeance. She decides against formal charges for now, focusing instead on rebuilding trust within the company and redefining her boundaries. Time passes, but the emotional residue persists. Electra channels her energy into growth. She attends leadership conferences, expands her professional network, and mentors young designers at Forrester Creations. Each step reinforces her independence. She refuses to be remembered solely for the slap. She wants to be recognized for resilience. Ivy, in contrast, embarks on a quieter journey. She withdraws from public life, seeking therapy to confront the fears that fueled her behavior. In introspective sessions, she begins to unravel the roots of her insecurity, childhood expectations, comparison to stronger personalities, an ingrained belief that love must be earned through control. The process is painful, but transformative. For the first time, she considers the possibility that genuine connection requires vulnerability rather than manipulation. Months later, an unexpected encounter shifts the tone. Electra and Ivy cross paths at a charity gala. The atmosphere is formal, restrained. They exchange a brief, civil greeting. No anger, no warmth, just acknowledgement. It's a small step, but significant. The raw hostility has softened into cautious distance. Still, the question of forgiveness lingers unresolved. Electra knows that releasing resentment would free her emotionally, yet she fears reopening herself to betrayal. Ivy hopes for redemption but understands it cannot be demanded. Daphne continues to serve as a quiet bridge, reminding both women that growth is possible. The storyline evolves from explosive confrontation to nuanced exploration of accountability and healing.